Hello traders, welcome to this video today. So if this is the first time that you are tuning in to this channel, my name is Anthony. I do come here on every weekend to give you the top-down analysis on the pair that I'll be watching within the week. If this is something that you like to learn one-on-one with me, then and maybe you haven't subscribed to the channel, I kindly urge you make sure to subscribe to the channel and also don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you get notified immediately I upload a new video. So without wasting time, let's dive into the market and see what the market has to offer for this coming week. So here we are going to start with our good friend here, Eurusd from the daily time frame. So kindly, if maybe you have watched our previous videos, how we did all this top analysis, because we are not going to begin from where the Eurusd reacted from this higher time frame supply zone. So make sure to find those previous videos on this channel, watch them, and then you will get to be guided on how we arrived to this supply zone, this change of character, and where we are currently. Because I'm just going to focus on what is currently happening here. So from the daily time frame, what are we seeing? We have this daily time frame break of structure to the downside, which means this is our swing high here. We have this one as our protected high, and then we have this low here as our swing low as at this point of time. And if we look closely, we can see that this high here is a very strong high. Why is it a strong high? Because it swept this internal liquidity, it also swept this internal liquidity. So we have the sweep of this liquidity before the market pushed down to give us a break of structure, meaning now this high, it's a very protected high at this point of time. Okay, so once we have our swing high, our swing low, what do? We know very well, we pick our Fibonacci, we place from the swing high all the way to the swing low. Once we do this, we need, the idea of doing this is for us to differentiate or for us to identify where is the equilibrium, where is the swing high, where is the swing low, and leave alone the swing high and the swing low. We need to know where is the premium and where is the discount, because the idea of doing this is for us to know where you are supposed to short from, where you are supposed to buy from. For this case, because the market is very bearish, we have no business with buying. Okay, so we want to mark the key levels that are resting at the premium, because we want to sell when the price is high, we buy when the price is low. Okay, so any key level that is resting between the equilibrium all the way to the upswing high remains to be a very good zone for you to sell from. Okay, so now how do I mark my point of interest now? It's very interesting. So these are the steps that I do. If I find it is very difficult for me to identify a key zone from this time frame, I am allowed to go to one time higher, which in this case is gonna be a weekly time frame. So I'm going to go to the weekly time frame. When I get to the weekly time frame, why am I going to the weekly time frame? I have two most important reasons and advantages of going to one time frame higher. One, in the weekly time frame, I'm going to see fewer candles there. So it means it is very easy for me to identify my point of interest. The reason number two, I'm going to mark a high probability point of interest. All right, because you don't expect a daily zone to be more powerful than a weekly zone. Always the higher time frames are going to be the boss. Okay, so when I look at the weekly time frame, what do I see? I can see that this is we have this order block on top here. But why am I not marking this order block? Because I see this order block was already mitigated by this buy candle. You see this buy candle already tapped to this order block, which already had a fair value gap, meaning this order block was a very good order block. But this buy candle already tapped to this order block, meaning now this order block is already mitigated. And once it's mitigated, it has high chances of holding. Okay. Secondly, I can see I have this order block down here. If you look at this order block, once the market closed below it, we had this buy candle, which already tapped to this order block, meaning already also this order block is still mitigated. So the only fresh order block I can see, it was this candle, the last buy before the sale. And since we have a wick above there, I also make sure I include that wick there. So now this becomes my point of interest. So after marking this order block from the weekly time frame, what am I supposed to do? Now I go to the daily time frame. So once I get to the daily time frame, if you observe what I'm going to do, I'm not going to mark a fresh order block. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to refine the order block that you have marked from the weekly time frame. And when I refine it, this is where I'm going to land. We have this last buy before the sell, which led to this break of structure to the downside. Okay, so now I need to pick my fib and confirm, is this order block resting at the right place? Because as much as you are marking this point of interest, I have the set of rules I consider before marking my point of interest or before marking my order block. One, that order block has to be resting at the right place. What does that one mean? If the market is bearish, it means that order block should be resting at the premium. If the market is bullish, it means that that order block should be resting at the discount. That is one of the rules. The secondly, if you observe how I mark my order block, I do identify the last buy candle before the sell or the last sell candle before the buy. Okay, if for instance the market is bullish, okay, another thing, that order block has to be fresh order block, meaning it has not to be mitigated. This should be a fresh order block without being mitigated. And another thing, and the last one, that order block has to have a fair value gap attached to it. If you look at this order block of ours, if I pick my Fibonacci, I place from the swing high to the swing low, we can see one, it is resting at the right place. That is what you have said. That is one of the rules. Second rule, how do I mark it? The last buy before the sell, since we are bearish, I have that candle there. Then another one, we have said it has to be a fresh order block. If you look closely, this order block was not yet mitigated, so meaning it is a very fresh order block. And the last one, you have a fair value gap attached to it. If you look closely, we have this massive inefficiency here, or a fair value gap that is attached to this order block. Now, having all those rules now in order, now the next part is now waiting. Now you have to be very patient enough to wait for a market to come to that key level of yours. We can see that we had the first tap to this order block here. Once the market taps to that order block, that is when I shift to my Henry time frame, the time frame that I'm supposed to go to wait for that confirmation. All right, since now this is a daily key zone, and if you don't know how to do the time frame alignment, or you don't know which time frame are you supposed to go to, I made a video on multi-time frame alignment, which I know it is on this channel. So if you have an issue with that, you can look for this for that video in this channel. Make sure to watch it, and you will understand how are you supposed to do this time frame alignment. Because one, if you mark your key level from the higher time frame and you mess up with the time frame alignment, that means you are going to get a wrong signal. So market is going to manipulate you. Because for example, if you mark a daily key zone and then you are going to go to the 5 minutes to wait for confirmation, you will find that the 5 minutes time frame is going to give you a early entry. Why is that? Because 5 minutes is far away from daily time frame. All right. So market on the 5 minutes time frame is going to manipulate you because that time frame is quite far away from the time frame that you marked your key level. Okay. So now for this case, we are supposed to go to 1 hour time frame. So when I get to 1 hour time frame, I'm going to ignore what I've done on a daily time frame. Only that this key zone or this key level is what I'm paying attention to. Okay. So what am I expecting to see the daily 1 hour time frame doing? As the 1 time frame is approaching that key zone, I am expecting to see 1 hour time frame being very bullish. And if you look closely, we can see that the 1 hour time frame is very bullish as it is approaching that kill zone. What are we seeing? Because at this point, 1 hour time frame was moving very fast, approaching to this kill zone. But once the market's up to that point of interest, we can see that 1 hour time frame is beginning to slow down, meaning now it is finding it difficult to break this zone here. But that one does not mean I have a confirmation to sell. Okay, what does that one mean? It means now I need to wait for structure to align with what I'm analyzing. Okay, so what do I need to see? If you have watched the video that I made here on Thursday, it was that I was expecting the Euro USD to give me information. This is what we had. Okay, so what was I anticipating? I was waiting for this law to be broken. So because you can see, this is the alert that I had at that point. So I was expecting the market to close below here on 1 hour time frame, which I also confirm on the 4 hour time frame. Once I see that candle closing below there, that was my confirmation for me to look for sales. But until I see that, I was not going to look for that selling opportunity. That means I didn't take any trade here because the market never told, it was not ready for me to look for that selling opportunity. So is that now, since even from the 1 hour time frame, I don't see a close above here, meaning still this is the structure that is still in control, right? So unless the market closes here on 1 hour time frame and then I confirm that one on 4 hour time frame, this one still remain to be my low. But in case the market continues to sell when it opens today at midnight and then pushes down to break below this low, making a change of character, then that will be my confirmation that this market is ready to sell. So what will I do? I'll just wait for a pullback, an area to join, and then I'll be taking my selling opportunity, targeting the new lower low that will be formed here. And then if you want to swing it, then you target this low because that is where you expect the market to go next, right? After this break of structure, then after this pullback is over, you're expecting the market to push down and take this low to give you a new break of structure. So as at now, we have to be very patient with the market. Wait for a market to give you that change of character before looking for any selling opportunity. Because remember, the market can do anything. Market can do anything as long as it is trading within this dealing range from that swing high to this swing low. Market can decide to have that deeper retracement into these areas above here before we start looking for that selling opportunity. All right. So it is only the market structure that is going to tell us whether this market is ready to sell or not. So let's be patient enough and wait for a market to give us that change of character before we look for any selling opportunity. So before we go to the next pair, I do run a private mentorship. If in case you want to level up your trading, you want to learn one-on-one with me, I have a private mentorship for only the serious students. If you'd like to join, because currently we are running an offer which ends on this at the end of this month, that is the next month. So if you want to, currently we are having a waiting room open for the September students. If you want to join or you want to book your slot for the coming month, because I normally have a limited slots, you can find the link to this my WhatsApp on this comment on the description of this video. Also, the charges are included there. If you are serious to join, you can send me a DM and then I will guide you on how to join. So that is that. So let's move on to the next pair that we are going to analyze today, of which for this case, it's gonna be gold. We are going to analyze gold next. So if you are here on our previous video that or the previous analysis that I made, or you watched that video, what did we do on gold, guys? So I told you this is what we saw. This was our last break of structure to the upside. Externally, we can see that gold is very bullish because this is our last break of structure from the daily time frame. Market came to react from this support zone down here. All right. After reacting from this support zone, we can see that the 4-hour gave us this change of character to the upside. Okay. The 4-hour gave us this change of character to the upside. But on top of that, we have this daily internal break of structure. So we have this daily internal break of structure here. Okay. And we cannot ignore the fact that we're having this daily internal break of structure to the downside. Okay. So now we picked our fib and we placed from the high all the way to the low because we know that if the daily swing wants to come for a pullback, because this is our daily internal swing now, if this wants to come for a pullback, then the 4-hour swing will shift bullish. And you can see the 4-hour shifted bullish here. And if you look closely, we have this support, we have this supply zone here, which is resting at the premium. We also have this supply zone that is resting at the premium here. Okay, so we said if this market is going to give us a confirmation here, we are going to look for that short-term sales here. For me, I cannot swing from this trade because I'm seeing that the market reacted from this support zone here, and it has already given us an internal change of character. So even if I took that sell opportunity from this area, I'm not going to target this low because I can see we have this demand zone here. So market can come to this area and then start that buy movement just to push the market up and come and take out this eye. And then we continue going up to take out our swing, to make our all-time high around this area. Okay, so what were we waiting to see on this area? We said we are going, since this is a daily point of interest, we are going to wait for a market on 1 hour time frame. And we said, what are we waiting for a 1 hour time frame? We are waiting for 1 hour to give us M formation. Are we seeing M formation currently? Absolutely. So already the market has formed an M formation. If I push this one to the right, we can see now we have this breakout structure. Okay, we have this we have this breakout structure here, which later on led to this change of character to the downside. So now what else are you expecting to see? All right, once you have this change of character, so we join with the pullback and then we target the lows. All right, but are we going to join blindly, guys? Are we going to join blindly? No, 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 no. Okay, so we have to look at an area for us to look for that selling opportunity. Now that is when it becomes very challenging on this pair, on this time frame, because now we cannot see a good zone for us to look for a selling opportunity around this area. We have no fresh order block, we have nothing to mark on this structure here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to observe the market from the lower time frame. That is at least the 15 minutes time frame. As long as the market has traded to the 50% of my dealing range, which of course I can see that the market had traded to the 50% of my dealing range. Unless I go to the 15 minutes time frame and try to see whether I can see any point of interest. Let's check. We can see from the 15 minutes time frame we have this supply zone here where the market is currently reacting from. And also we do have this one here sitting at the extreme. The whole of this range, that is also a zone to watch out. So if the 15 minutes time frame is going to give us that confirmation here, the hem formation, we are supposed to look for that selling opportunity. Let's see from the 5 minutes time frame. So let's go to the 5 minutes. So from the 5 minutes time frame, what are we seeing? We can see this is our last break of structure, right? Of course, does it have a valid pullback? No, 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 no. Now, I cannot mark this one as my break of structure because this pullback does not fulfill the rule of 3 candlestick. So if I had maybe a 3 candlestick pullback here, that is when I could have identified this one as a break of structure. Then I wait for a market to break this low, giving me a change of character. So as at now, I have no structure on gold. So I have to be very patient with gold. I will observe the gold on how it will do. If, for instance, the gold pushes up to tap to this zone, maybe it creates a structure here from the 15 minutes time frame, taps to this zone, and then gives me an hem formation. I look for that selling opportunity to target this loss. Okay, so that is it on what I will be looking at gold. Actually, I need a second confirmation. The reason why I need a second confirmation, I'll give you a reason for that. If I go to the 4 hour, if we get to the 4 hours time frame, you see now this break of structure that we are seeing here on 1 hour. When you get to the 4 hour, the 4 hour has no break of structure. All right, this is just a sweep of liquidity here. So remember, we are supposed to confirm the 1 hour structure from the 4 hour time frame. All right, if the 1 hour is giving this break and we go to the 4 hour, we don't see that break of structure. It means now there is high chances that the 1 hour time frame is trying to manipulate the early sellers to think that this market is ready to sell. Because if we can look from the 4 hour time frame, the last break of structure was here. This is where we had the last BOS. And you can see the market reacted from this demand zone. If for instance, this market closed below this low with a body, then I will be confident enough to look for that selling opportunity from this area. But the 4 hour never gave me that break of structure yet the downside to confirm that you have a change of character. So it means that this structure that we are seeing here, this one, is an internal of this 4 hour because this pullback already has 3 candlestick pullback. Okay, at least if you are my student, you understand that how do we identify this pullback, those 3 candlestick. All right, we have already 3 candlestick here. That one qualifies this one to be a good break of structure. So that means since we don't have any other break of structure here, this low is probably being used as an inducement. Market has tapped to this zone and is showing some kind of bullish market. All right, that is why I'm telling you I'll be looking for a very good 15 minutes confirmation around this area before I look for any selling opportunity to the downside, unless the gold will continue selling and break below this low to confirm from the 4 hour that we have a change of character. But as at now, I also need to be very patient with gold and wait at least for high probability setup. Okay, so that is it on gold. That is it on gold. So we are going to proceed on our next pair, which of course is going to be BTC. So let's look at the BTC USD. So what the BTC USD is doing currently? All right, from our Thursday video that we made, or the last analysis that we made, we saw the BTC USD came to react from this supply zone after we had this breakout structure here. We came to react from this supply zone. We had a breakout structure and then a change of character. Actually, I was anticipating to see BTC coming at least to this order block here or this supply zone on top here with a massive fair value gap below it. But unfortunately, the BTC kept on selling and selling. And since we are very close to the target here, I don't expect the BTC to have that deeper pullback to the supply zone. So what is there now? I'll be looking for a continuation trade at least to target this low. So I'll just go to 1 hour and try to look for my structure over there. If I look closely from 1 hour, I have this last break of structure here. And if I look closely, I can see I have a supply zone on top here, which is also very fresh supply zone. And then you can see the market is creating some kind of liquidity below that zone. So if you want to look for any trade on BTC, then wait for a market to come at least to this supply zone. Then you can look for 5 minutes change of character or 1 minute change of character inside this. That is an M formation. Always prefer waiting for confirmation. All right. Look for an M formation inside around this area. Once you get that, take your entries and then you can target this new low here or this zone here because we are very close to the target on BTC USD. So look for that selling opportunity to target this low. If by any means the BTC will keep selling out and then it gives us a 4-hour breakout structure here. Once you get that 4-hour breakout structure, that is when we'll activate this supply zone here. Okay. Once the 4-hour gives us that change of character, or that not change of character, but a breakout structure to the downside, what we'll be waiting for? We'll be waiting for a market to have that pullback, at least to this supply zone, or come and sweep this liquidity, maybe react from this fair value gap, gives us a 15 minutes change of character or an M formation, then we'll be looking for that selling opportunity to target this loss. Okay, but as at now, this is a zone that I am expecting you to look out for. If the BTC will come for this area, look for that 1 minute confirmation here, that 5 minutes confirmation around this area, then you target this low because you are very close to the target of this market. So that is it on BTC USD. We are going to go to Audi USD. So what is happening on Audi USD? If I look at the Audi USD from the daily time frame, what are we seeing? We are having this is our last breakout structure, right? After that breakout structure, Audi USD came to this demand zone. We saw the Audi USD reacting from this demand zone. But until we see the internal aligning with external, which is this breakout structure, we are still going to be looking for that selling opportunity. Because internally, this is our last breakout structure, all right? From the 4-hour time frame, it is very clear there. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, what are we seeing? This is our very protected high. Why? Because it swept this internal low, internal high before coming to break our structure. And if you compare this movement with whatever is happening here, you can really tell that this is kind of pullback. And this was, market moved very fast around this area and currently is struggling to push up. Meaning now this now looks, or it is a kind of a pullback. Okay. So what are we seeing here on Audi USD? All right. So until the 4-hour candle closes above here, we are still bearish on Audi USD. I don't know whether you are seeing, because you can see for the first time here, market failed to break that high. It came again here. It also failed to break that high. So it's at this point of time, my last breakout structure is here. So if by any means, when the market opens, Audi USD fails to close above there, because once we close above there, it means we'll have a change of character from this 4-hour external structure. But if it continues, because I can see it has swept liquidity here, we have a buy side liquidity being swept. right? So we have the market sweeping liquidity above here. And we know very well, once the market sweeps the buy side liquidity, the next target is always the sell side liquidity. If by any means this pair continues to sell and closes below this candle where I have put my alert, that will be a change of character, a very good change of character. So what will you do? Wait for a pullback, look for an area to enter, and now, once you have that confirmation, guys, once you have that confirmation, all these lows that we are seeing from the 4-hour time frame, all these lows, they are going to become liquidity. So we'll be expecting the market to come all the way down to sweep all these lows and then target this low to give us a new change of character to the downside. But if the market will have that change of character to the upside, it means now the internal is aligning with the external. And now we'll be looking for that buying opportunity. That means we wait for a pullback, at least into the 50% of the new dealing range that will be formed here. That is to wait for a market to come at least to this demand zone here to feel this inefficiency around this area. And then we look for that buying opportunity with that confirmation. But as at now, let's wait for that confirmation. If the market gives us that confirmation, we sell from there. If it fails to give us that confirmation, then there is no entry for us. As easy as that. Okay. Now, I don't think whether I have any other pair that is looking interesting today for me. So I would like to stop this video at this point. Again, as a reminder, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly make sure you do subscribe, and also don't forget to turn on the notification bell. And before I forget, make sure to turn on the notification bell because I'll be making another video to give you an update of what has happened and what I'll be watching for the remaining part of the week. So until that time, thank you for watching this video, and I really appreciate for you guys for showing up here every time to watch my video, liking my video, commenting my video. I really appreciate it so much. So thank you guys. Until next time, it's a bye bye for now.